friends, it's Lisa. Welcome back to my channel. Today we're creating this super cute card. Well, actually we're creating two. One is slightly different than this, but I thought this one was the cutest. It's totally adorable. And it came about because on my last card video that's specifically about cards, I had this whole palette of reds and pinks left over, and I didn't want to just wipe away all that gorgeous color and not use it. So 2 or 3 days later, I came down and started this next project. So the first thing I did was I spritzed it with some water and painted that background of the watercolor cardstock. You didn't see that because I apparently accidentally deleted that footage. But then after I dried that, I dipped the paper into the paint and got more paint on. So next I am taking some Versamark Onyx Black ink, using it on a stamp and stamping that down a couple times onto that dried background. So I will heat set this as well, just briefly. The Versamark dries pretty fast, but it is a pigment ink, so it doesn't dry instantaneously. Then I felt like I had a whole other side of this that I could use to make a whole another card. So you'll see I do the exact same thing again, and I think this is the Sketched Florals stamp set. It's definitely from Simon Says Stamp, and if you just search Christina Warner in the Simon Says Stamp website, it'll come right up, because she's the one who designed it. I was thinking about that the other day, that in my Capsule collection I used a couple of her stamp sets, but I like her design, so it worked out. Next, I'm taking some of my colored pencils and just coloring in some shading. So I leave some highlights just being that natural background color, and for the first one I'm using colors to actually add the shadows. On the second one, I used just the black pencil, which I end up liking better. I really thought the colors were going to come out really cool, and I think it looks okay, but I think limiting to just the black really made the background stand out as the focal image, which was kind of cool. I did add white colored pencil on that one as well, though I outlined everything. So, as I did on this one. Here I have sped up the video really fast because you don't want to sit and watch me color. It's really not difficult. There's nothing fancy. Basically, I just did the bottom of the leaves as the dark part and then lightened towards the top. That's it. Then I outlined all the images in white and just shaded that out just a little bit. And I wanted the image to pop off the background, so adding that white around really helped with that. So I'm going to cut around this, and just at the top I'm going to give it a little bit of space and then cut around the image, because I was not going to be able to cut out all those little berries at the top, so I just gave it that little bit of an edge. Then I'm coming in and doing the exact same thing on this side, but I'm using the black pencil, like I said just a moment ago, and I think I like this one better, and that might be kind of the point of the Capsule collection, is to realize sometimes limiting yourself actually makes what you're doing better. So that was really cool. I have I use this stamp set quite often, and I've seen that there is a coordinating die, but you can't get that die alone. You can buy the die with the stamp set, but you can't buy it alone. So I'm a little sad because I am not a fan of fussy cutting, and I'm not good at it. I'm just not a fan. So I was a little sad that I could not get that. I don't think you need coordinating dies for everything, but when you do have something that you use a lot, it makes sense. So kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry, guys. After that, I decided I needed to put this little section on a card, and I decided to use my black cardstock as the background because it made the red really pop, but I didn't want to use the black without anything else on it. So with everything that I have, not a ton of stuff will show up on the black cardstock. And by what I have, I mean my capsule collection, because I'm doing the Capsule Crafting Collection Challenge, 4C Challenge, this month. And so I only have a set number of things to use. I will link that video, the first vlog where I show everything I'm using, at the end. So if you want to check that out, you can. I have another video up, as well as the second vlog, kind of going through my thoughts after the first little over a week. So here we go. I'm going to stamp, and I'm just stamping the area that I'm going to use. So the parts that aren't going to be used, I'm not worrying about stamping onto them or heat embossing, because why? Why worry about it? So I'm stamping this down with Versamark clear embossing ink, and then I'm going to heat emboss it with some Ranger white embossing powder. So I did get some extra fuzzy white stuff outside of the embossing areas, so I went with my dry brush and just knocked that off. Then you will see I have a few sections where I didn't perfectly get the stamped image down. So what I did for that is I used my sentiment to cover it up, because I'm just that good. And you'll see here that I'm trying to pick out which background goes with which foreground image. And I switched from what I'd been planning to do. Then I'm taking some of my foam adhesive and popping up those two foreground images on top. The colored one was bigger than I wanted it to be, but instead of cutting it down prior to sticking it down, I did it after, and that was a mistake because I put it a little bit too far on the background, more than I had planned to. But I just stuck those down to one side, and then all that's left after that will be the sentiment. So I probably should have done the sentiment before actually sticking this down, because I'll have to cut the edge of the sentiment and kind of push it under, but it worked out fine. But just to, maybe think about things before actually doing them, unlike me. So the thing I really liked about this card is, especially with the one that doesn't have the extra colors on it and it just used the black pencil, is that I think the colors really, the red just really pops, because that's the only color other than black or white. So I really enjoyed that. And then here is the colored one. But since I did white on black for the background, I decided I really needed to do black on white for the foreground. So I'm taking that same black ink that we used at the beginning, stamping down the sentiment. And this is a sentiment from that same set, and it says, "Sending hugs. I'm cutting this down with my trimmer, and you can see I'm lining up the top edge and the bottom edge of that with one of the lines on my trimmer, and that just helps me get even spacing. So I will cut on the left side so that it fits in under my stamped image, and then I'll glue it down, and on the right side, on one of them I cut just a diagonal line, and on the other I cut a little fishtail. So it's just a fun way to add a little bit of interest. So here you can see I'm making that cut. If I had done this prior to sticking down, then I could have stuck the sentiment down with the image and not had that issue. I wasn't sure exactly what I was doing, but I didn't want the thing to shift, so that's why I have the blue tape down there, because I hadn't glued it down because I knew I wanted to cut the end, but I wasn't sure how to cut the end. So anyway, long story short, don't do it how I do it, how I just did it. Do it how I said to do it if you're remaking a card like this. Then I decided that the white banner was kind of big. I did that on purpose because I was covering a mistake on the background, but with it being so big and white, I felt like it needed a little bit of detail. So you'll see here in just a second, I will take my Sharpie pen and I'm going to add in a little bit of detail. But I've used my glue and stuck those down straight. You could add foam adhesive to them, but I kind of wanted the thing that's really standing out to be the red stuff on the left side. So I added 2 really thin lines of detailing on the ends of these little banners because I wanted it makes it look a little bit more finished, and I think it just adds that detail that was missing. So here are some pictures of those cards. I really loved how these turned out. I think they were amazing, and I hope you guys have enjoyed watching this video, and I hope you make something super awesome. So let me know in the comments below what kind of video you're interested in seeing next, and I hope you guys have an amazing, wonderful, crafty, amazing day, week, month, forever. Here are some other videos you may be interested in. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit the little icon, and you can be part of this happy family. Have a wonderful day. Thanks, guys. Bye.